Hi chess friends, this is King's Executor, and this is round 5 of the World Chess Championship match between Anand and Carlsen. And in this game, Carlsen had the white pieces, opened with c4, which I was afraid of because that often leads to boring games on Grandmaster level, in my opinion. e6, and with this move we transpose into a queen's pawn opening into the queen's gambit declined after knight c3, and now we have a Slav pawn formation here, very solid, and e4, pressure in the center, which was exchanged, bishop e4 check, knight c3. Of course bishop d2 was possible too. Knight back to c3. Now I want to make this video very quickly because I don't have time today, so let's go on quickly. c5, hitting in the center. At any point that bishop can retreat if it's hunted with a3, or it can exchange off, so don't be afraid of the bishop being trapped. That's what we're seeing here. Knight f3, knight f6, bishop e3, more pressure in the center here, more development towards the center. Knight c6, queen to d3, preparing to castle long. The pawns are exchanged in the center, and knight g4, exploiting that bishop's positioning, castles long anyway and giving black the bishop pair. Now taking with the queen would be a positional mistake because of bishop b6, giving black a pin and pressure in the center, and if you have to play a move like knight to e2 to defend, that's very harmful to your development because your bishop is blocked. So that piece was taken by the pawn here, and that's of course not the nicest pawn structure to have. Bishop c7. Of course, white was threatening to gain space here, maybe with a gain of time. And now white exchanged knights, giving black these funny pawns, excuse me. And because of these pawns here, the bishop pair, especially the light squared bishop, isn't that good for the moment. So black has this trump of the bishop pair, but you need a very open game to make to exploit the bishop pair. So the queens are exchanged, and after bishop e2, king e7, bishop f3, exploiting this weak pawn, bishop d7, knight e4, and now you see the knight in the center almost compensates the bishop pair from black. Bishop b6, kinda begging for c5, which was played, and f5 was played here. If bishop back, then white now has control of d6, which black doesn't want. If you think you can attack this piece twice with black, and white will double rooks, and you cannot play a move like bishop c8, attacking that piece twice, because that pawn would be hanging. So after takes and rook takes, we have, we can just exchange one more pair of pieces and then gain this pawn. So after c5, f5 was played, so two pieces are attacked at the moment, and they are exchanged, and b7, an intermediate move, attacking the rook. Now the pawn was taken, and rook to f1. Another move would be rook here, but okay. Rook b5, activating the rook on the 5th rank, and rook f4. Carlsen could have played rook f3, doing something like this, but with f4, g5 was kind of provoked, and I think this is now a pawn to try to attack it now because it moved forward. And just let's look at a move like g4, then rook back to f4, e5, taking defending that g4 pawn, and the rook would have to move. Then that has a plus and a minus. Black gains space here, but this bishop stares at pawns here. So that's maybe why Anand just played h5 here instead of g4. And now the rooks double on the f-file, and bishop e8 to take away the threat of, rook to f7 check. Okay, bishop c2 was played, and the rook pinned that bishop. g4 is maybe threatened now to gain more space with tempo, so rook f6, very active, h4, giving the bishop maybe some prospects, e4, taking away squares from this rook here, so that the king can move without having any checks to worry about. a5, king d2, rook attacks pawn, b3 to defend bishop h5, king c3. Now each side is trying to improve their position move by move, and the black rook gets active here. The second rank is defended, rook d4, and now gaining tempo. The exchange of bishops is avoided. Rook b5, king c3, and c5. Rook b2, e5. And now the pawns look better for black than before because they are on the dark squares, and this bishop now is more active because of that. Rook g6 attacking the pawn, a4 attacking the pawn, rook takes, we have an exchange, and now we get this e-pawn with check. The king has to defend c5, and Carlsen played rook to h5. Now this rook is really cut off from defending this pawn, so it's already a difficult position for black. But there are opportunities, or there's one opportunity at least, to keep a draw for black here, but it's tough. Rook d1, attacking the bishop. Now check in the intermediate move, king d5, and bishop h7, saving the bishop, and having the option of giving check, maybe exchanging this bishop, threatening to gain the pawn which is defending it. So best move here would be rook a1, because after check there is this intermediate move, rook takes a3, pinning the bishop to the king, and if the king gets out of the pin, rook takes and check. Again, an intermediate move, many intermediate moves here in this game, but this is of course just a variation. This would be best for black to keep the draw. Now attacking the pawns on the second rank would be the idea in pushing the pawns, and white has this check and stopping this pawn here, and black meanwhile could eat some pawns, and with these moves here, attacking the pawns and giving check, there is basically a drawn position and this is what Anand should have played. Rook a1 with this pinning idea of, let's just look at it again quickly, takes and now the pin, and that would have kept the draw. But rook c1 check was played, which is a very well, this move really gives the initiative to white's hands. King b2, rook g1, trying to get the pawn on g2 with check. Bishop g8, but here again check. Now the king is driven back to the 7th rank, and now Carlsen took on b3, and there is no rook takes g2 with check anymore, and rook takes h4. And now you see the problem for black is that white has these offside pawns which the king cannot take care of. The rook has to look after one of these white pawns, or here, and this king is worried about this pawn and even this pawn as well. So black is overloaded here in this position. King e6, a4, and this a4 move wasn't possible in the other line before because that pawn was just taken. That offside pawn on a4 is now white's winning trump. King takes a5, king tried to stop the pawn maybe, or defend c5, and the rook cut off the black king from the 7th rank. a6 check here, and rook a2, a7, and now both pawns are defended by the rook. And after king c5, h4 was played, and I'm not sure if king d5 was played or if it just was a little broadcast glitch. But after h4 it's clearly lost here. Maybe Anand played king d5, I'm not sure, but he resigned this position, and this is move 58, and Magnus won the first game in this match. He's the first to have won a game, and well, I'm really happy about this outcome, and I'm looking forward for the next round. I hope you liked it, and you please excuse the quick analysis and the quick report. Again, the critical point was, I'm in this position already, was critical here, and rook a5 would have saved black's game here, again with this nice move, rook takes a3, and now there is no a-pawn, no offside a-pawn to march down the board anymore, so black could have kept the draw here. But it's really difficult, and it's based on a lot of pressure. Of course, both players are under a lot of pressure, and these kind of things happen. So I hope you got something out of this analysis. Please subscribe, comment, and like the video. See you next time. Bye bye.